Guys, welcome. There's been so many people that have been asking me what I'm actually building, how I make money, how do I trade, and I'm finally going to start revealing that to you guys. I'm here on Google Meets with one of my two partners. There's three of us in this business. We have basically built a tool and it's an engine and it's a system that we spent years building and that my partner here has been building himself. And it's basically a tool and engine that gives us an idea about market sentiment and market direction. Okay, we use a number of different variables. We actually have about 27, 28 different modules. This is thousands of lines of code that we've built, which we're about to start revealing to you here, how it helps us predict the direction of the market, how it helps me make trades in the market, pick directions. And then eventually, because you have heard me talk about a algo fund, an automated algo fund. Eventually, we are turning this visualized system, which we're about to show you, into an automated algo system, which is way more complicated, which we will show you a bit further along the line. But for now, we're going to kick off with my partner here, and we're going to actually show you how we use our system to estimate and to predict the direction of BTC and how we review the market with what tools we have. So enter my brother.
Thanks, Ralph. So as Ralph said, we have an automated system. It's highly data-driven, and it gives us market insight. We like to use BTC as a lead indicator to give an overall direction of the market or sentiment. So the last time I was in the BTC charts, we did an analysis in September 26. And as you can see, we pointed out about 1, 2, 3, over 7 levels that we can possibly hit. The 107 was quite interesting, depicted by the yellow line. It's actually tested several times at the moment. And the 101 is pretty significant. A week ago, I think it was the 10th, let me check. Yeah, Friday, October 10th, when we had the massive liquidations, we actually touched the blue line, which is the 101, which made for a great DCA into the position. But for now, we're just going to use the data given to us here as a general idea of what the market is doing. So this is actually a bare bones. How I derive these lines are not currently shown. We'll do that in another section when I explain to you how we analyze our meme, Pepe. So let me continue with some of the indicators we use. One is the 200-day moving average. Very important. I think most traders use this for general market direction. One can see once price is above that red line, we're pretty much, bullish. And if we tend to fall below it, it's like bearish sentiment. Strangely enough, it happened here, not too much drawdowns here because Bitcoin has been a very strong asset. So in addition to the 200 moving average, we like to take a look at the M2 money supply. And currently, this is basically a projection in the future of where we think the price of BTC will be. Mine is currently set to 6 months out, and it's projecting about $215,000. This fluctuates daily, so it's just an idea of where big money is thinking at where this commodity or asset is going to go.
And yeah, I don't want people thinking that that's biblical using that empty money shift. I don't want people thinking, oh, you think Bitcoin's going to be 214,000 in 6 months' time? No, that's not what we're saying. Right? We don't think it's going to be that figure in 6 months' time. That's the money shift, the money supply. It's an indicator that we use. It's one of many indicators that we use. But I just want to reiterate, we're not saying that BTC is going to hit 214,000 in 6 months' time. We're not strictly saying that.
Yeah, it's pretty much sentimental at this point, right?
Exactly.
So turn on 2 indicators that we look at. I'm about to remove them. And I kind of did a trend line when we had these 2 lows connecting, and we're pretty much bouncing. Actually, we're way above it. So, and then the next time we could probably touch it is over here. Not much, just a regular trend line. Then our blue lines, right? These are our levels. And how I derive these levels, it's actually based on our tool, which I'm about to show you right here. Turn this down.
Boom. There she is.
So this is our tool, and currently it's on the 1 day time frame. We don't run it necessarily to capture data on the 1 day, but this is just a visual of what this looks like on the 1 day. And generally how this tool works, we have a simple rule in-house. If it's blue, it's going up. If it's pink, it's coming down. Alkaline is directional. If this is trending up, price is trending up. If this is trending down, price is likely trending down. And also, a great feature that we have, we automatically show you the current supply zones, which is the light brown color. If some may call it pinkish, I may call it brown, a little colorblind. But blue, I'm gonna get right. This is our demand zone. Demand zones usually have lots of buying interest, and supply zones usually have lots of selling interest. So with just the skeleton view of our indicator, now I can turn on price to show you the relationship between price and the colors of the indicator. I'm not going to go into too much detail of what this indicator is built on, but
no, we don't need to do that. We don't need to go into super detail as to how we built the system. The idea of this call is to just show our people how the system works and what it's showing us. And here, as you can see, when you turned on price, it quite nicely correlates with our indications. There you go. When it's blue, you can see it's going up. And it's quite nicely correlated. So if we literally just, you and I, traded our millions of dollars on these blue and pink lines over a long-term period, we would make money. But that's not exactly how we are playing the game, especially because this is also a 1 day chart. So we're going to show you, show people how we break it up into different time frames. And also, it's worth mentioning that supply zone and demand zone, the machine is recalculating every 1 minute. Is that right, Ken? Or like recalculating every candle?
Yeah, we do calculations on every tick, actually.
Every tick.
On the time frame dependent, each tick is calculated. But for our analysis, we are a multi-time frame company. So what I'm going to get into is the other time frames. But I'm going to do that on the Pepe chart because that's the alt that we're going to use the indicator on for some more in-depth dive. But lastly, before I get off of Bitcoin, I just want to show you that we have the zones, and we've been actually bouncing in this zone since let's call it, we've been here since the July. And this is kind of like at the top of the market, right? So it's pretty strong to hold the top, kind of forming a head and shoulder pattern, but it's been a couple of months, and it's traditionally likely to see 20 and 25% dips in Bitcoin. But we've been pretty stable. It's acting more like a stock, compared to previous cycles. With the exception of the 10th of, was it the 10th of October when we had that flash?
Oh, yeah, that crazy flash.
Actually, back in the day, people thrived in these dips, right? We loved them, 20%, yay! But, it's kind of interesting to see, well, this is like a $23,000 dip. And at one point, Bitcoin was, 10 to 26 to wherever, back to 16. But now we're over 100K and we're having 23K fluctuations. But, we can expect here, this is pretty bullish for us. because our indicator went blue.
Blue. Yep.
And we expect it to hit the predicted price. You see, the HTH, that's the highest test price at the moment, and we're right on point. And we're expected to touch the aqua line. The aqua line is where we expect price to gravitate back towards. It's actually a true price of the commodity. When you minus manipulation, we're saying that this is the actual value of the asset. And the minimum test price, we're saying that, yeah, this is the lowest you're going to get it for at steel. So this is where you might want to buy. And again, that's coming back closer to our predicted 107, I believe. And we have bounced 107 once, 2, 3, 4. So it's been holding steadily at 107 based on our tool.
Yeah, and there's a number of different ways to trade this. So for example, we might just say we would now set a buy limit order at where it bumped at 10, where you were saying it's hit twice, right? So it's hit twice, it's bounced off that mark twice, which is where, about 107?
Yeah, 107.
Where that yellow line is. So you could be like, oh, here's a buy limit order at 107, and you could go on holiday for a month or two, knowing that if it hits that mark, we are confident at that level to actually buy BTC. And that is one way that we use this to sort of fundamentally trade BTC. But again, we actually use multiple strategies as a fund to maximize our return. So although we see it now and we see, oh, it could climb out, we're just going to see if it's going to break that high price, that HTH price that you guys see there in small writing. We're going to wait to see if it breaks through that price. But what I like about our system is, look at the way it's bouncing within our range there of our demand zone and our supply zone, which Ken showed you. It's range trading within that region.
Yeah.
And we know what the top looks like. We know what the bottom looks like. So at this stage, if we were to say which direction do we think the market is going, do you also want to talk about your market analysis, or should we just save that for the lower time frames when we move on to Pepe? I guess we can save that.
I guess for this introductory video or this casual video, we could just talk about the data, how we use it, because there's many ways we could use it, right? For example, me personally, even though I know we have a lot of bullish sentiment, I am somewhat still not fearful, but cautious on how I would drop my bag. Even though we'll position size appropriately, I feel I'll be a little bit more patient for the long-term trades, because I really don't like sitting at the top of the market. I would like to get discounted prices. So 107, I'll probably drop a few dollars. If we go back to 101, I'll drop some more. And happy to drop a lot below 95.
For sure. If we look at it now, we wouldn't drop a bag right now. We look at the current price, it's sitting in between the two zones where we know it's hit our HTH price, right? So it's our high price. So at the moment, we would not buy Bitcoin, right? Neither would we necessarily short Bitcoin. We have to be patient in this instance to see which direction it goes and rely more on our data to predict what the next direction is. But if we were to do anything, we would drop a buy limit order at 107. And, because we're experienced traders, it doesn't mean we have to trade all the time or overtrade it. Just because we're looking at this Bitcoin chart right now, let me remind you, we don't have to trade this. I don't like the current price. I don't want to long or short this current price. We're waiting for more data points and for more direction, because what we're doing at the end of the day is the way we built this system is we observe the institutions, what the institutions are doing. We observe what the market is doing, and we move based on that. We don't try and move based on entirely where we think the market is going. We're like, what are institutions doing? Where is the price going to go? We wait for confirmations. Okay, that's a key term. We wait for market confirmations, and then we act. Because right now you see the price sitting in between those two zones. Today, I would not trade Bitcoin. I would not buy or sell Bitcoin. We would just continue to observe using our data.
Yeah, and definitely agree with everything said. And what I'm going to jump into is to illustrate that we're not just going to sit around and not trade and not make money. What we're saying is that Bitcoin is more for a store of wealth these days, and we rather day trade something else with a little bit more volatility. So that's why I'm going to just say that we're going to use Bitcoin now as our indicator for the day, and then we'll drop down to a, let's say, an altcoin that is volatile. So what I'll do is drop down to Pepe. We are bullish in our overall market sentiment right now. A lot of great news. So we're not going to drop any money into Bitcoin right now. We're just going to wait for better prices. But what we're going to do is switch over to Pepe. And yes, do not be overwhelmed. So what I'm going to do for Pepe, this is the multi-time frame approach, and you're actually having a view of our system. A lot going on. So let me clean this up. I'll go to the 1 hour basically. So
sorry, I'm just going to cut you here and just say, when a lot of people are learning about trading, or you guys are watching a lot of other people on YouTube, look, there's a lot of amateurs out there that are trading. Ken and I have been in the game for many, many years. Usually people are just going to draw simple resistance lines, head and shoulders, W patterns, M patterns. You're going to hear the same old stuff when it comes to trading, the same old basics. But this system is way more sophisticated. This is years of statistical analysis, of data input, of also the use of AI. This is ultimately an AI tool which gives us the sentiment. Now, all the different lines that have been drawn here have been drawn for a reason. They haven't been drawn randomly. There's calculations involved. I mean, I'll let Ken take over here, but when a trader is going to come, an amateur trader, and is going to look at this, they are for sure going to be overwhelmed and think, what the hell is your system telling me to do right now? This is way too many lines. Because when I first started learning trading, there was 1 or 2 resistance lines, 1 or 2 support lines, and you would just trade that range. And that's like how the most basic traders would play the game. But just bear with us, and we'll try and explain a little bit more about how the system works.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll say it is overwhelming to look at, but if you stick with us just for a little bit, it gets simpler. So blue lines are key levels, which we identified. The green lines you see is actually your orders waiting to fill. And the indicator, as I explained in the BTC analysis, pretty much functions the same way. If it's, I'll turn off price so you can have a look at the market from a indicator point of view, where we have pink, we're falling, and blue, we're climbing. So we take the higher time frame for overall market direction. I'll give an example of how we would actually trade for today if any opportunities present themselves. And looking at this right now on the 1 hour, yeah, I would not take a trade today, at least not right now. It's pretty much a strong short in terms of price structure. Or bias is based on a price structure, or scores are based on a combination of multi-time frame indicator values. I'm not going to get into that. And our market structure is just based on market direction. For now, we're saying that we're in a strong downtrend and it's actually moving for Pepe. That's on the 1 hour analysis. So I'll turn on back price, and I'm going to ignore the 1 hour right now because I want to day trade. So I'm going to drop it down perhaps to 15, which is the center, and 1 minute. So what does the 15-minute tell me? Let's open this up. Again, we'll just take a quick peek of the indicator so you get familiar with the colors. So again, I'll say if you see a solid blue like this, as soon as it turns blue, we're going to go long. And when we're like at the top in a supply zone and turns pink, we're going to go short. Basic. We're just trying to get a direction, right? So question is, can we determine a market direction based on what we see? Right now, no, because the indicator is too much in between the supply and demand zone is not constricted. It's very wide. So it's like a decisive market time. And even though we can trade it, there's a, I don't know if you could see this number. We're saying there's a 1.92% difference. So if we decide to trade, that's the market expectation. And our upside is only 0.67%, while our downside is minus 0.25%. So there's more money to be made shorting right now, but that's not how we trade. It's just observation. And we are in a moderate uptrend based on the 15-minute, right? Kind of different, but the price structure is saying possible reversals short. So we get up to date market analysis. It is somewhat bearish on the indicators. You may say, this is contradicting, right? Yes, it is, but we do not trade until several factors line up, which I'll show you in a second. What I'll do though is take a look at the 1 minute, right? And looking at this, assuming that we're going to go short based on these numbers, we'll drop down to the 1 minute, which is to the left. And the 1 minute is actually giving me a better view on making money in the short term. Right now in the range, it's just a 1% to be given, right? So I'm not really going to trade this, but if we were, we want something maybe 3-4%. And this blue and this red is actually
green.
Sorry,
the green line.
Yeah, excuse me, green and red. It's actually very important prices that we mark out. These are known as our decision prices, and they are derived based on strong market structures, whether it's a strong uptrend or a strong downtrend. We're going to look for a decision point to determine a turnaround or a reversal in trend or a continuation in trend. And if you look at how this is actually working, I'll go back to some historics. Back, let's say we'll just use October 25th. We identified this as a decision point, and we had some decline in price. Then we got our decision turnaround, which you can see, we call the turnaround at this red price. And then boom, we see the volume turn blue and everything starts to trend upwards until we another decision point, tries to go up, retests that decision, not a decision, not a decision. There's some cooling down in the market, a reversal to this point. We visit the decision point, makes this relatively high price, but retracts, bounces, back to the decision price, makes a new downtrend decision price, retests the old decision price, retests this, formulates. So as you can see, there is a correlation with these lines and where price visits. It's like a prediction, right? Because price has gravitated back to these levels consistently.
Yeah, and every time price has come back down to the red line, which is what we're calling the low price of that session or that time period, we predict that that price is going to bounce back off that red. And if you look back in the future, if you look back multiple times, we'll see every time it hits that red, it bounces back off.
Yeah.
In most scenarios. So whenever we see that, whenever we see the red line start forming, because our system, remember, is up to date every tick, then at that point, if all the other factors come into play, then we take a long because we know it's hit that low price. And the other thing I want to mention, which we didn't mention at the start of this, by the way, which a lot of people probably asked, this is you're seeing it on TradingView. Everything you see here is a custom indicator. It has been built by us. None of this is available on TradingView. We just use this as a charting visualization tool. Everything you see here, everything that we've actually built is custom, is completely custom to us. And we're taking this to the next level, but that's for another call where we've actually transferred all this information over into Python, into 27 different modules, which we're feeding into LLMs and AI, which will eventually be able to spot patterns better than we can. Because right now, there's Ken and I, who are experienced traders who are looking at this chart, who trade this chart. But ultimately, we want to use computers and systems to take all of this data and to be able to spot patterns within the chart itself, within the ticks and within the price, which will directly be connected to the exchange. And at that point, once we have signal generation, we can then start trading automatically. That is the end goal of our product. But here, what we're showing you is all the little pieces which we have, and there's a lot of moving parts. They're all custom. None of this is TradingView. Okay, this is not like we put 7 or 8 TradingView indicators together. That's not a business. Okay, that's just someone trading off TradingView's indicators. And by no means, people can also make money using the strategies indicators. There's a lot of people out there who will make their strategies public on TradingView. That's not our game. We're much more experienced traders, much more experienced businessmen. So we went out there and built our own indicators, custom built indicators, but we just love using TradingView because it's the best, still the best visual tool to use. I thought that was important to mention, Ken, because people might be like, oh, what indicator is that? Like, let me look it up on TradingView.
Yeah, and most importantly too about TradingView, it's great for starting, but there's issues with calculations and repainting. So we opted not to automate or even do anything on TradingView. Just it was built as a tool to get our data set ready for artificial intelligence. And anyone in the industry with any knowledge of TimeScript, which TradingView is built on, or the language available for making your custom strips, there's no direct integration with artificial intelligence. You really cannot directly call the Python models and have a machine learning class directly learn. There's workarounds. Yes, you could create webhooks, send the data out to a database, and then have LMMs look at the database, but it's another step. What we opted to do is a complete rebuild, right? We're completely building something outside of TradingView, but in the meantime, we just come back and use our data set to actually trade. And interesting, you're seeing the short call and you see the market is turning down, you see it turn pink, and we're going to the red line, as you can see as we speak. And you see that the demand zone is constantly being recalculated.
Can you just zoom in?
The system in live in 1 minute.
This is really good live. Can you just zoom in slightly? This is perfect, actually, because look at the way the system called that. You can see in the bottom right-hand corner, guys, we had strong sell and bearish, and that's been up for the last few minutes while we've been talking. You can see the purple indicating there's downward pressure, and we didn't want to trade because we were sitting and waiting for a decision. Now we can see it's also broke MTM, our minimum price.
Yeah.
And now this is an extremely bearish signal, although, as you said, the demand zone is constantly being updated. So here in this instance, we would predict that it, as Ken said, it's going to come back down to that red line, and then we'll assume that it will bounce off that red line and climb back up again. But the system literally told us, okay, the pink, the sell short, the bearish, and we saw it right in front of our eyes. I mean, what percentage did it just dip right now? Check in the last few minutes. Yeah, dude, can you just measure that percentage?
Right here. Just this little piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would a little dip, almost 1%.
It just did 0.7% while we were talking to you guys. So we could have, taken that trade as we saw the biases, the strong sell bearish, and then it broke MTM.
Yeah, and also, if we were here earlier with a trader's hat on, I always believe in being early to the market, and these middays trade. Yeah, it depends on the time of day. I would not trade. I would have been happy getting in here on the first pink, right? If we were sitting here screen and we saw this with our numbers, yeah, we have already made. We would have done 1.65% for the day, and call it a day, right?
Yeah, I mean, we probably would have got out at the end of that pink where you said, where we would have started at the top where you just showed them the pink. Where we would have got out as you come down is there, perhaps when it turned blue. And we saw an uptick. At that point, you'll be happy, and as traders, we would just take that profit. But again, you have to remember that is up to the discretion of the trader. So this will depend on your experience and how good of a trader you are, and and how you follow the signs and the data. But again, we want computers to do this, but this is a preliminary call to show you how we as traders use a system that we have built and that will eventually turn into some kind of automated strategy fed into LLMs and machine learning models that will understand these patterns way better than we will understand them, because it could look at history and understand how these patterns work and learn from itself and be like, hey, the last time I did this and I didn't sell, I went into a losing position. So this time I should sell. The chances of me selling and getting into a winning position now is 74%. So once we use that data, like a lot of the quantitative firms do, like a lot of the big crypto funds, hedge funds, these guys are extremely technical. And, it's really hard to make money trading like this without a system on your own over the long term. You might get lucky a few times, but to think that you're going to beat the market over the long term, we're not here to lie to you and tell you, all these other YouTubers that you guys see that claim to you, take my trading signals, watch this, and most of the time they will end up getting burnt on a big bad trade. So we're very cautious. And as you can see there, how we're doing there on price, that demand zone is
on the predictions, right? So
yeah,
we're gonna watch this play out. Let's stay on the call just for a few more minutes to see if we could hit our target.
Yeah.
And then I like to do this. I like to peep back at the 15-minute to see what that looks like. And as you can see, we broke the decision price, right? On each time frame has its own calculation. So in the 15-minute, the 0.07164 was that interesting price. We're now back there making decisions, right?
Yeah.
That's all that is. Interesting too, the predicted price was that price also. And the highest test price was around 72. So, it is very also on the 50-minute, it is a bearish sentiment.
Yeah.
So we like to see confluence on at least two time frames. So because we're going to day trade or just decided for purposes of an example, we drop the analysis down to two, just the 15 and the 1, so you can get some money for the day. So using these two, we have similar readings, so they're in agreement, right?
Same on the one hour. The 1 hour.
1 hour, yeah, 1 hour is in agreement somewhat too now, right? It has changed.
Yeah.
It's a strong downtrend.
Yeah.
And on the lower time frames, it's still analyzing the market structure, but let's drop back to the 1 minute to see what we're doing. Oh, before I do, I just want to point out that we also have a little bit of AI features built into like basic candlestick patterns. I don't know if you can see this one, right? Like right here, before this big drop, we had a bearish engulfing. See it? This says, let me zoom in a bit here. Can you see
it's probably quite hard for them to see that, but that's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so can you see that?
Yeah, it's tiny, yeah. Bearish engulfing, exactly. So that's like an indicator, a signal.
Boom. And that was an indicator. You caught it in action. And interestingly enough, this is looking at the candles on a 15-minute time frame. And here's the second one. And a bearish, and then went down. Bullish,
and then
went up. So
look at that. Look at the other bullish one there. But all of those signals, if you just traded those signals today off our system, you would have had a damn good day, damn good 2-3 days. Because look at that other one, bullish engulfing.
And the market's actually doing what we expected it to with these scores. You see, it's actually crashing, not crashing, but it's probably hitting a red level in the 1 minute. Let's take a look. It's probably getting really close now. Yep, it's heading there. And then you see everything is recalculating in real time. So this is how this is going to work, guys. We're probably going to come and hit this red level. It's going to create a demand zone. It's funny, I can somewhat call the market before it happens. It's going to come, hit this red line, create a demand zone. This indicator is going to come down pretty close. And then the market may turn around and go back here or to the newly calculated supply zone, or it's going to come further down. But Again, this is our volatile token, Pepe. We like it because it gives you lots of volatility. And secondly, here's that indicator on from the 15-minute. Here's an indication that we were coming down. See, bearish long upper wick. Since this first indicator here, which was way before this pink, this is us getting ready to be like, okay, things may be turning. And then since then, the actual drop from this indicator to where price is right now is 2.2, let's call it 2.2%.
Yeah,
Not bad,
that's
right?
from 1 o'clock. That's from 1 o'clock, right? So that's from 2 hours ago, 2.5 hours ago.
Yeah. And we're getting close to our predicted price, right? Let's take a look. Here we go.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
And there's a recalculation in the zones. So
I think we should just stay on this call for just an extra few minutes, just to show them.
Prediction.
We're literally showing you right now live what's happening on the market and how we're using our system. This is absolutely live. You couldn't see it any better than that. And you're seeing that new demand zone is constantly being recalculated. All of our calculations are recalculating every tick.
Even if we don't make this line, we can expect a turnaround, right?
We can expect a turnaround. So you could drop a buy order now, for example. You could drop a buy order now, and you could drop another buy order on that red line because we expect the market to.
You know, we could show them this. There's some strict rules here that we adhere to. This is the wrong screen. Back to this one. Hold on, I'll bring something over.
Yeah.
Where is it? Give me a moment, guys. I just gotta find.
No problem.
Got lots of screens. You know, I'll show them in another video. I'll show them.
That's fine.
But it definitely looks like we're trying to achieve that predicted price. And just not to be a show off, this was predicted all the way back on November 27th October.
Yesterday.
Yesterday. We knew that since yesterday, we would have gravitated to the green, which we knew on the 20th Sunday, right?
Yep.
So yesterday we could have traded from here to here, which it happened, right?
That's right.
So this was basically a 3% trade in a day. And here's the first dip back to the red, right? We always say that we're going to come towards the red for another tree. And now we're boom, back at the red.
There you go. Back in the red, like we said.
And does it bounce? Then I say that we're going to probably pause here. This indicator is going to come really close to the demand zone. Then we might get a bounce. It's going to turn blue, and the pattern repeats. So let's see. But we might need a little help with the scores because right now the momentum is very strong, bullish, right? Bearish, right?
Bearish, yeah.
And it should act as a support level, right? So let's see if that works out. It's nice to have a tool that could give you an idea of where the market is going to go and what it's going to do. Again, it's a lot of maths in here, a lot of statistics, a lot of moving elements to come up with these predictions and prices, and I can tell you they work, right? The data set, we used the data set 1 month. Was it 22%? We did.
Yep.
And here's that bounce. We're getting a nice blue. I'll tell you this, guy. That blue is not. Don't get excited just yet, right? It's going to go up and drop right back into that demand zone. It does that a lot. I like to call that the retest. And on the retest, when it leaves the zone again, that's when I would actually consider taking a trade when this turns blue. So I would like to see, like, for example, this is the candle that created the zone. We left the zone, right? It's going to possibly come and retest in the zone. And the volume should come into the zone again. And then when it turns blue, provided that these scores change and we see some bullishness, we're going to take it to go long. but we're not going to preempt it. We're going to wait until the market tells us it's turning around, because this could actually go lower, right? We're not saying that we see is a prediction or guaranteed. We're just saying the behavior of the market.
Yeah.
Right.
And they have to remember that a trader waits for the right conditions. When you could put one of the best traders in the world, best manual traders in the world, on any chart on the asset class that he or she trades, and they won't necessarily take a trade just because they're sitting at the chart, right? The trader has to sit at the chart to wait for the correct conditions. And in the next call, we'll show you a list of the different conditions that we wait for in order to take our positions. So there were numerous times over this call where we didn't feel comfortable taking that position because we waited for things to align. And even still now, I would have probably taken a position at that red line that we showed on the 15-minute chart. I probably would have taken the buy order. I would have put a buy order in at that point. But Ken is saying he wants to wait for the retest. So it's come back up there. He's saying it's going to come back down into the zone, maybe closer to that red line again, just to confirm. And then if he sees the volume change back to in the buyer's favor, then it's going to reclimb. So he's waiting for those perfect conditions.
Yeah, it's retested here. It's trying to turn blue, but let's see if it does the little bit back into the zone and then go.
Yeah.
And so we want again. Yeah. Again, it doesn't always do it, but it's like a confirmation for us. With these scores, 70%, 45 bearish. Yeah, I don't think it's turning yet. We gotta wait. And then when in doubt, we'll just jump over to the 15. And whoa, so this is definitely too big for freaking demand zone to even trade right now. We're gonna need to readjust. This is the equivalent of a bad news day. Like, you know, some traders don't trade on the bad news because it gives these big ass candles. And you just don't know. But you know, like again, I want to see some more upside downside between the zones. I want to see a tighter demand zone, and I want to see this indicator curve down a little bit and then do a curve like how you see these smooth curves, like kind of like perfect when they're tiny, right? When it's slim. It's just patterns, right? Trading patterns. And again, very bearish, sorry. So this is what we play the waiting game. Even though we make a few good predictions, by no means we're out of the woods, right? So it's one of the cases. This might be one of the cases where we just go, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would have taken that position there at the demand zone, bottom of the demand zone. It also hit the red. I would have taken a long position there and maybe even just drawn profit quite quickly.
Yeah, we'll see. You know, the retest is still possible, bro. So
of course, it's still possible.
Let's see how
that's a tiny trade right there. I mean, what's that trade in percentage terms? Like I would have taken that right on this call from there to there. I would have made 0.8% during this call in the last 10 minutes. I would have taken that trade and taken that 0.8%. But again, I would have broken the rules on that front. Exactly. Because there's a couple of rules that I quite like there that I wanted to follow. But again, and this is what we learn. Every time we try and take our own trades as traders and try and be smart, we can profit in the short term, but you do need a set of rules over the long term. You do need consistent patterns that you follow every time. You do need that discipline, which is why we do want to automate this. Because I would have made a 0.8% right there. But at the same time, with our bias scores telling me it's still a strong sell, it would have been a risky trade. And yeah, that's not the game that we're trying to play here. We are trying to develop a real system with multiple variables, 28, in fact, I believe it is in terms of modules, and amalgamating all of that and then getting the system to tell us what pattern makes the most sense or what it's learned from historical data. That's when this piece is going to get super exciting. I think we've probably given them enough info today about how we move. We don't need to wait till this completely plays out. We can do a replay over the next call. But I hope that's been a good introduction as to what we've been doing for a good couple of years, what we've been building to understand this market. I hope that's given them a nice introduction, right?
Yeah, and to you know what I can also do before we go? I'm just going to hit a quick replay so they can see how the predictions play out just in the 1 minute. So it goes really fast. Let's just do a few days. We'll do all charts and then bar select here. Select bar. No, select. Let's see. Today, let's do the 15th. Select. Okay, this is light around the. We'll do 3x, right? So they can see how this works. We'll wait until the data loads in. This is a replay, guys. Just to have a replay view so you get a stronger understanding of how this works and what we see. Okay, here we go. And I'll speed it up a little bit for the element of time with 7x. And look at the scores and the behavior. It's going a little fast, but it's the 1 minute, right? It's possible to trade the 1 minute. We go that.
Yep.
And that's another thing I want to mention too. We wait because we're trying to avoid the noise, right? There's a lot of noise on the 1 minute charts, so we need to have some certainty of passing the stop loss attacks and things of that nature before we enter. There you go. We're bullish at 56%. We just hit the blue line, which we marked out earlier. That's probably a turning point. And now we're forming some new green lines that's telling me decision. And market is deciding. And yeah, I know you see purple lines too. I'm not going to get into details. Things.
Yeah, over the next call.
We keep certain things for ourselves, but everything has a meaning.
Yeah, I think we've shown them. I think we've shown them enough today. I think this is plenty.
Okay. Yeah, and they can see how the system.
Yeah, we'll be giving updates on the charts and where we think BTC is going, where we think.
Test to the red line, the old red line. Boom, bounce. Wow. Back to the red. Yeah, so how is it possible that we know that this price was going to get hit?
Yeah.
Right. It's going to form a new red price because it's saying it's trying to turn, but it may not, right? It can continue down. That's what scores say. Still bearish.
Yep.
Still bearish. So nothing significant. It's trying to go bullish now. Here we go. Trying. Then neutral. See, it's updating consistently, right? It's what the market is actually what the market is doing, not what we think.
Yeah.
Major difference.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's a good place to end it. They got a good view of the real-time calculations.
Absolutely. Yeah. Good stuff. Glad we showed them this. Good introductory call.
And there's that score matching the drop.
All right, perfect.
Perfect.
All
right, guys.
That's us.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys. We'll catch you in the next call.